Warning, this video may contain content that may not be suitable for children or anyone else that is easily offended. Strong language, graphic content, nudity, bad jokes, and a possible idiot, aka myself, may be featured in the following clip. Viewer discretion is advised. Channel is not responsible for any damages that you receive watching this video. Hey, what's up, y'all? Today we're going to react to the top 3 encounters of random serial killers. This video is by Mrballen, so if you guys haven't already, be sure you swoop down to the description box, follow that link, and head over to my boy Mrballen's channel and watch the video in its entirety while me pausing and stopping through the whole thing. I don't know if you guys remember, but one of my last videos I was talking about, I wonder how many serial killers you walk by in your lifetime, or if you encountered a serial killer, or anything in that nature. But man, I think I'm a serial killer too, boy, because the other day, I freaking had a box of Captain Crunch while I was destroying, not the regular Captain Crunch, but the Captain Crunch with the berries. Zim. Hold the phone, folks. I'm getting a important news flash from Mr. Krabs. I'm making a complete one of myself. Most embarrassing thing you've ever seen? And now it's making it worse because I'm repeating everything you say into the microphone. No. But you guys haven't already, be sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, man. Support your boy. If you haven't already, be sure you swoop down to the description box and enter the giveaway as well. You have 3 more days, and after this video, you probably gonna have 2 more days, man. Keep track if you are signed up, because if you win and you do not collect the prize, we're gonna find another way to give it to someone else. So be sure you're paying attention to that.
Experts believe in the United States alone, there are at least 2,000 active, uncaught serial killers just running wild. Which means if you live in America, you may have already had an interaction with
That's scary.
You just didn't know it. But today, I'm going to share 3 progressively more disturbing cases of Americans that had an interaction with a serial killer.
Before we do that,
came to find out later
that
it was a serial killer. But
before we do that, if you're a fan of the strange, dark, and mysterious delivering story format, you come to the right channel, because that's all we do.
All I do is 3, 4, even 5 times every week.
It's not the same.
So if that's of interest to you, then please schedule.
Remember, this one doesn't count. This is one of his older videos, so he didn't have his spiel down pat until like the later videos, so it still counts.
Button for a fight with Paul on the day before Thanksgiving in Quincy, Massachusetts. Also, please subscribe to my channel and turn on all notifications so you don't miss any of my weekly uploads.
I don't feel like doing a Mrballen dance, dude. Not today. Parents know best, and that is fact. Most of the stuff my mom told me is happening to this day, but I didn't listen because I was a young, hard-headed whippersnapper. Soft behind, my mom used to tell me a hard head makes a soft butt. Boy, was she right, because she used to whip my butt. But it was for the better. I turned out great, I think.
After spending 21 years in the U.S. Army, a man
21
moves to Central Florida with his wife and young son. Although his family had plenty of money because he had a pension coming in and his wife still worked full-time, he just got bored really quickly after moving to Central Florida and decided he would just take a job doing something just to stay occupied. And so he ended up taking a job at a highway gas station. One of the primary reasons he chose this particular job is because the owners of the gas station didn't care if his son came along to help him stock shelves or hang out behind the cash register. And so for years, that's just how it went. The man would work at the gas station and his son would tag along. Even after his son became a teenager and you'd think might be wanting to do other things, well, the town was so small, there was almost nothing to do. So his son still came along well into his teenage years.
My thing is, that's a kind of a weird jump, don't you think? Hey, at 21 years in the Army, okay, I'm about to work at a highway gas station. Maybe. I mean, then again, maybe it's understandable because he's all high speed and doing stuff. He just wanted something that's chill, laid back, you know what I'm saying?
One night in 1990, his son, who was 15 years old at the time, was at the station, and he was actually taking a break sitting outside on a picnic table. He was reading a magazine, drinking a Mountain Dew, and it's dark out, and he knows.
That's when you know the story's just about to turn bad. He was drinking a Mountain Dew. Ooh, Mountain Dew. Oh my God, it tastes like lizard water. I don't like turtle water, so I don't know how people drink that stuff. Oh my God, it's like the factory on The Simpsons.
He notices out of the corner of his eye that there is a woman walking off of the highway towards the gas station. It was a very quiet night at the time, so there's no cars getting gas, there's nobody there, and there's not really anybody even driving on the highway, and so that's why she really stood out to him. And he turns and he notices her, and he thinks to himself, no one ever walks to our gas station. We're on a highway. Everybody drives here. So she must have broken down and she must be coming here to try to use our phone to call a tow truck or something like that. So the woman is walking across the lot, coming closer and closer to the gas station, and the boy at this point has turned his attention back to his magazine.
Don't do that.
But he would say later that he kept looking up and keeping an eye on her because there was something off about her. The woman
Tell your
also
dad.
walks right behind him and goes in the door into the gas station. Doesn't acknowledge the boy, doesn't say hi to him, just walks straight inside.
Red flag.
And she starts walking up and down the aisles.
Second red flag.
Now, from where the boy was sitting, it's all glass, so he could clearly look in and see his father behind the counter, and he could see the head of this woman as she walked in and around all these aisles. And as soon as the woman was in the store, kind of pacing around the aisles, the boy put his magazine down and was just watching. And he noticed that she was not really shopping. She was just looking down for a few seconds, wouldn't pick anything up, so she wasn't buying anything. And she would look up at the counter where his...
Bruh, this is the common move of every thief I've ever seen when I was working in a shoe place as a security guard. They do the same thing. They walk in, they think they slick, they try to get in good with you to make it seem like they're there to go shopping. They're like, oh man, how you doing? Oh, you guys got this, you guys got that. Like, there's that many floor workers on the floor. Don't keep asking me, bro. Ask them. Why do you keep coming to me? Because you're trying to distract me, bro. I'm not stupid. And while they're talking to me, I'm still looking at the cameras, watching their friends trying to steal stuff. Like, bro, I'm still looking. Like, you're not going to distract me. I know what I'm doing. I've seen many of you come in before. Like, yeah, you guys know I'm very observant. Like, I catch on to stuff like super quick. So if people knew how obvious they look when they steal, they wouldn't do it. Now, I admit there were some good ones. They were super good. Like, I don't know how they did it. Like, they had to be like black magic or witchcraft or something, because they would walk in and walk out. And sure enough, they took something. How did they do it that fast? No idea, but they were good. Some people are really good at it. But they always say the dumb ones are the only ones that get caught, so.
Father was, and she would just stare at him, and then she'd look back down at what she was doing, and she would go through all the aisles. And at some point, the woman just kind of abandons this phony, I'm pretending to shop routine, and just walks up to the counter. Now, nobody else is in the store. There's nobody else coming in. And so the boy could actually fairly clearly hear what she was saying to his father. And she told his father that she had broken down and she needed a ride, and could he drive her to Ocala, which was the next...
I'm sorry, I keep pausing it, but let me tell you guys something. If somebody comes into the store and they needed a ride, that would be the first thing they would say. You know what I'm saying? You're not about to pace up and down 3 or 4 hours and then come ask me for a ride. That doesn't even seem right. That's when you know people are crazy. Because if you needed that, that would be the first thing you said in the beginning, or you would have made yourself known to his son when you were outside, like, hey, do you think your dad can give me a ride? She walked past him, walked in the aisles, and then asked for a ride. Red flags, bro. Pay attention, people.
Next big town north of this gas station. And the boy would say that his father acted very strangely, because his father was normally incredibly pleasant with all the customers. He's very chatty even. Like, he talks to everybody who comes in the store. But as soon as this woman had gone in, his dad had seemed kind of dismissive and almost rude to him.
Maybe you can give her a ride.
Him asking for a ride. He just said, no, I won't give you a ride. The woman is annoyed by how quickly she's been shot down. But instead of just taking no for an answer, she turns and looks at the boy who's sitting out on the bench, who's looking right at her, and she points at the boy, and she says, what about him? Is he your son? Can he give me a ride? The boy notices that his father, who's not within her eyesight, is looking at his son going, no.
Get the gun ready.
Whatever she wants from you, you're going to say no to it. And the boy's a little bit confused by this, because he's still trying to understand why his dad was so against helping this woman, because she clearly needs our help, or someone's help. But he just took his dad at face value, and when the woman's pointing at him, he knew, the boy, that if she came over and asked him,
it was over.
But it wouldn't come to that, because the boy's father would say to the woman, no, my son's not going to give you a ride. You need to leave here immediately. Do not come back. Leave. We're not going to help you. She's
there we
furious.
go.
She's cussing him out. She storms out and slams the door. She starts cussing at the boy, and she walks off. The whole time she's turning around and flipping them off and screaming profanities at them, but she ultimately walks off. And the dad kind of followed her out and is standing next to his son as she walks off. And the boy asks his dad, like, what was her deal? Why did that happen? Why did you not want to help her? And the dad just said, I don't know. There was something off about her.
My man's the dad.
But I did not want her around you. I knew I didn't want to give her a ride. I knew she had to go.
There we go.
A year later, the boy is in his room when he hears his dad in the other room yelling for him to come in here and look at the TV. So he runs into the TV room, and on the TV is the same woman from the gas station, better known as Eileen Warnos. She was a serial killer who used to pick up her male victim.
I know who she is. Allow me, you guys, to inform you who she is. Eileen Warnos. Not only is she Eileen Warnos, aka the highway killer, she would abduct men, or she would tell men to give her a ride on the highway, and then she would kill them, which she later obtained the name the highway killer. You get what I'm saying? Not only is that, she was so well known as one of the notorious female killers. They made a movie about her, which is called, I think it's it's called Monster. Make sure you guys go watch that movie. It was a really good movie, and the person that plays her looks exactly like her. Same crooked teeth and everything, man. It's crazy. It's a really good movie. Make sure you guys go stop by and go check that out, man. It's great. It worked so well for her because usually dudes be like, oh yeah, sure, little lady, hop in, I'll give you a ride. And little do they know, they was riding their way all the way to their death. So be careful. I don't give rides. I don't do hitchhiking. I don't do any of that stuff, man. Movies ruined that for me.
At gas stations in Florida. It's unclear whether the boy or the boy's father were her next victims.
Probably.
But by the time she had shown up at that gas station, she had already killed 4 people. And following that interaction with them at the gas station, she had gone on to kill 3 more people, including someone in Ocala, Florida.
Jesus.
The town she had asked them to give her a ride to. Eileen had been caught, that's why she was on TV, and she was later sentenced to death.
I think she just had a hatred for men. I forgot what happened, but something happened to her where she developed a hatred for men, and she just went around killing men. He seemed normal. That's what they say about me. I think I'm normal.
In the late 1970s, a medical student going to school in Chicago had just gotten out of class and decided he didn't want to pay for a taxi, so he decided he would hitchhike his way home. Now, this was something he routinely did, and at the time was socially acceptable. So he goes down to the road and he puts his thumb out, and eventually a car pulls up, and he would describe the man that is pulling up as looking normal and even friendly and lighthearted. It's a middle-aged guy.
It's usually those.
He tells the student, hey, come on in, hop inside, I'll give you a ride. The student did not feel threatened by this guy and felt like overall this was safe, and so he hops in the passenger seat.
And this is the part where you say, no, I'm good. I'm going to use my Subarus, my Lamborghinis, my Foot Gottis, lacing up your shoes, and you just keep on chucking people.
He tells this man where he wants to go. He says, okay, and they start driving off. So as they're driving, it's silent in the car. They're not making chit-chat. They're just driving along.
Red flag.
The student notices that the man misses the turn to go.
Red flag.
And so the student turns to the man and says, hey, you missed the turn. Do you mind turning around and going back this way? Or, if you want, you can just drop me off here, and I'm happy to walk. We're not that far away. The man, who had seemed really nice and lighthearted, suddenly had this really intense demeanor come over him. And he turns and looks at the student and goes, oh no, you're coming with me. The student is frozen in fear. He doesn't know what to do, but he knows immediately that this is not an idle threat. I don't know who he is. I don't know what's going to happen.
He's about to get his cheeks clapped.
For me, I have to get out. And so as soon as the car began to slow down even a little bit, they're still driving. They're not stopped. The student unlocks the door, opens the car, and jumps out of the moving car and smashes into the ground, rolls against the side of the curb, but is ultimately unhurt.
There we go.
Up from jumping out of a moving car, but he was able to stand up and run back to his house. He didn't call the police because he really didn't know what to tell them, because he didn't have a great description of the guy. He didn't have his license plate.
I guess.
And the guy didn't do anything totally aggressive. It was more of a threat, but an ambiguous threat at best. It wasn't really clear what he wanted to do.
All right, I give him that.
It definitely did not seem good, but it just wasn't enough for him to call the police. And so the student just feels lucky that he got out of there and moves on with his life. A couple of years go by. The student at this point has basically forgotten about this encounter with the stranger. And he's sitting in a cafe, he's drinking some coffee, and there's a TV on behind him. He wasn't paying attention to it, but the reporter on the TV said something that immediately piqued his interest. The reporter was talking about a guy that was currently on death row that apparently had removed all of the inside car door handles inside of his car after his first would-be victim, a college student,
it was him,
apparently escaped by opening a car door while he was moving. The student runs over to the TV and sees on the screen there is an image of the guy they're talking about, this guy on death row, and it's the same guy who gave him a ride 2 years earlier. His name was John Wayne Gacy, aka the Killer Clown. He had killed over 30 men and boys in Chicago.
The John Wayne Gacy. Oh my goodness, this dude was out of control, bro. Like he said, the Killer Clown. If it was a person, it would be this dude. This dude was killing boys left and right. He was a little... So that's why he only targeted boys, bruh. And these are, the 30 of them is the only ones that they know of. There's supposed to be reportedly more, but there wasn't enough space under his house to put the body. Dang, that's crazy. John Wayne Gacy, bruh. That's a story to tell. Escape from John Wayne Gacy. He wasn't an easy dude to escape from. There's also a movie on him as well called Gacy. If there is a serial killer out there and there's a movie of you, bruh, you infamous, man. One escape made him think, I'm not gonna let the next one escape. How creepy and mad do you have to be like, one escaped, I'm not going to let the next one escape. Then he tells you about it, and he's still mad about it because years later, he still remember him escaping because he said, a guy escaped and I made sure it wouldn't happen again. That's why you just got to jump and run, people. Do not take hitchhike. Unless you, nah, I mean, I just wouldn't advise it at all. Unless it's like really bad and it's snowstorming out, you're probably about to die or something, then yes. But if you can make it, then make it on your own. Well, slap me down with ketchup and call me a glitch. John Wayne Gacy. Known serial killers right here, man.
Killing them in his clown room, he would stuff them into a secret crawl space.
I told you.
And although we can't be certain, it seems extremely likely that this med student was supposed to be the first victim of John Wayne Gacy, but he left
patient zero,
forcing John Wayne Gacy to change his strategy and make sure the next person was not able to do that.
Dude, that's crazy. John Wayne Gacy.
Young woman and young man were on their very first date together, and it wasn't going very well. It wasn't going badly, it was just really, really awkward. They just were not meshing at all. And so as they're getting ready to leave and retire for the night, the guy is thinking to himself, I have nothing to lose here. We're probably not going to go on a second date. And he says to the woman, hey, do you want to not go home right now and actually come on a hike with me? And he goes, I know this sounds like a terrible idea, but hear me out. I go mountain climbing in this area called Provo Canyon. It's not that far from here.
Provo Canyon.
Beautiful trails that lead up the side of the canyon to these amazing scenic overlooks. And tonight, it's a new moon, so there's great visibility, and I just think that you might enjoy it. And so at first, the woman is obviously a little bit hesitant.
You sly dog.
Says, look, I go hiking there at night all the time. I love it out there, and I promise if there's any weirdness, if you don't like being there, we'll just turn around and leave.
That sounds totally weird. So hiking at night.
Coaxing, she finally says, okay, you know what? That sounds fun. Let's go do it. And so their date that had been really awkward suddenly became really exciting. And the two of them were kind of like thrilled, like, wow, look at us making our way up for a nighttime hike through Provo Canyon. And so they arrive at the mouth of this canyon, and they're both obviously excited, and they hop out and they start walking up this trail that brings them into a heavily forested section of the canyon. Now, to this point, the guy felt like this was a really great idea. He really had gone hiking here a bunch, and he really did know the area well. But as the trail brought them into the forested area, the guy remembers feeling this overwhelming sense of dread. He didn't know why, it was just like an overwhelming sense of anxiety that something bad was going to happen to them. But he had worked so hard to convince his date to come with him. And it convinced her it was safe, that he's not about to let on to her.
Yeah, man, my macho-ness would have went away. I was like, yeah, we're going on a hike. What was that?
That there was anything wrong with what they were doing. And so he put on, his strong face and just kind of suppressed it and just kept on walking and, holding her hand tight, and they just continued their walk. But his sense of dread would just build and build to the point where he was really on edge. And what he didn't know, but would find out later, is that his date, the woman, she also had this horrible sense of dread as soon as they went into the forest. But she didn't want to tell him because she didn't want to seem like a party pooper. Man. Excited about it. At some point, as they're walking down this...
Anybody watching this video, if you ever get the chance to hang out with me or do anything, if you feel any kinds of dread, sadness, depression, anything, if your neck hair stand up on the back of your neck, let me know, please. You have my permission to let me know if you feel some type of way. If you're hungry, let me know. That could be a sign too. I don't care.
The man steps on something that felt soft. He didn't know what it was, but it caused him to freeze immediately. And he's holding her hand. He kind of jerks her to get her to stop. And before he can even look down and see what he's standing on, he hears rustling coming from the bushes just off the trail. She hears it too, and both of them, without saying a word to each other, because again, you got to remember, they're both really stressed. They haven't let on to the other how stressed they are. But they're both basically ready to leave. And so the two of them turn around and they hightail it out of there. He has no idea what he stepped on. They don't know what they heard in the bushes, but they don't care. The anxiety was so high, they just wanted to leave. Years later, that man and woman who had this very strange date would actually be married. And
wow, that's crazy.
Watching TV together, and they're flipping through the channels, and they land on an interview with a death row inmate.
Who?
And the interviewer is asking the inmate, was there ever a time that you were almost caught red-handed? And the guy being interviewed says, yes, one time. I was in the forest up in Provo Canyon one night, and a young couple came walking up the trail. I didn't see him, so I only had a chance to jump into the bushes right next to the trail, and the guy actually stepped on the body of a girl I had just killed. But for some reason, he didn't look down and see what he was standing on, and the two of them didn't notice me just a few feet away from them. They just turned around and walked away. Turns out that young couple had run into one of the worst serial killers of all time. Ted Bundy. Before Bundy was executed...
The handsome Squidward chiseled chin Bundy? Oh my goodness, bro. Handsome devil himself. The ladies' man, ladies' death, ladies' worst enemy. Good chiseled chin, manly man Bundy. Bad dude right here, boy. Don't let the eyes fool you. Even his wife didn't even realize what he was doing. He was smooth as butter. He can sell salt to a snail. He can take your car and sell it back to you. Bundy. He could sell hair grease to a bald person.
He confessed to over 30 murders.
30.
Many people believe
More.
the true number of victims is much, much, much higher. So that's going to do it, guys. Let me know what you thought of these 3 stories in the comments section, and let me know how you would respond if it turned out you had actually interacted with a serial killer. Not only will I respond to all the early commenters, I will also pin the best comment at the top of the comment section. If you enjoyed today's story,
facts, it was a good video, man. I know you guys enjoyed.
For a fight
Come on.
with Paul the day before Thanksgiving in Quincy, Massachusetts. Also, please subscribe to my channel and turn on all notifications so you don't miss any of my weekly uploads. If you want to get in touch with me, you can direct message me on Instagram or on Twitter. My username for both platforms is the same as John Ballen 416. I also have a ton of content over on TikTok where my username is Mr. Ballen. If you have a story suggestion, please submit it to our subreddit. It's just called Mr. Ballen. It's linked in the description below. I am on there every day, and if I intentionally use one of your story suggestions, I will absolutely credit you. So whether I see you on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Reddit, here on YouTube, or some combination, just know that I really appreciate your support. And until next time, guys, that's going to do it. See you.
Infamous highway killer, John Wayne Gacy, and chiseled handsome devil chin Bundy. 3 bad mama jammas. Oh my goodness. He stepped right on the body. I don't know about you guys, but if I stepped on something, I would have had to look down. Let me know down in the comment section which one you thought was the scariest. For me, I think it was the guy that jumped out the car. John Wayne Gacy, bro. Oh, he lucky, because John Wayne Gacy was a big dude, bro. He wasn't bigger than Ed Kemper, but he was big. He had some meat on him. But yeah, man, thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, support your boy. We're right around the corner from 1,100. Thank you guys so much. Make sure you enter that giveaway that's down in the description. Also, make sure you head over to Mr. Ballen's channel, as he said in this video. Hit that subscribe button and watch the videos in entirety. I'll be pausing and stopping through the whole thing. Happy holidays. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.